I don't know about you, but I really love black and white. And I really love really neutral black and white, or slightly cool black and white, or slightly warm black and white. And when Epson came up with the advanced black and white mode in the K3 inks, I was really pretty excited because I had kind of given up trying to do neutral black and whites and kind of punted and did, you know, strong sepia colors that I could print out in color.
Or what you had to do was buy special ink sets from third parties.
So what I'm going to do is showing in Lightroom how to take advantage of the Epson Advanced Black and White mode. And I'm going to be printing out to the 7900 using cold pressed natural, which is actually a slightly warm paper, which sometimes for black and white, a warm paper I used to print on Agfa Bravura all the time. So let me just show you what I've got. Standard 1-inch border. I've actually got some presets. I'm going to show you the neutral. One of the things that you want to do is basically set Lightroom to be managed by printer.
Right. This is one of those times that you want it to be managed by printer.
Yeah. Edge case. But it's a unique case because basically what this is it's a real hybrid separation engine for the Epson printhead. This is kind of like a rip within a driver. So under the printer settings, basically you want to set, here's the sheet, actually, cold pressed natural. And instead of color, the advanced black and white mode. Then in the advanced color settings, and you have some controls, the default is darker. I don't know why. And darker is too dark. So I almost always use dark or normal depending upon the gamma of the image that you're sending. And one of the problems is if you're sending ProPhoto RGB, you may actually need to alter this. They decided that, you know, rather than have a gamma number here, they just did darkest, darker, dark, normal, light. But darker is default and normal is way too light.
Okay. So dark is normal?
For me.
For you? Okay.
So then what you can also do is come up to some presets. Here's neutral with no tint adjustment.
Right.
Here is sepia, which I think is kind of like baby brown.
Over the top.
Yeah. Actually, warm, I think, is kind of a nice sepia. And then you have cool, which I think is too cold.
Way too blue.
Yes. So basically what I like to do is to kind of come in here. I'm going to start with the neutral and save that. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a print. Just to confirm. Printer settings, neutral, darker, print. Okay, then Michael, here is the neutral result.
Lovely.
And this is the conversion from color to black and white that I did in Photoshop and then printed out of Lightroom.
Lovely.
See what you think. So then what I wanted to do, and it may be very difficult to tell looking back and forth, but what I wanted to do is to go in and do a warmed version, and I'll show you what that would be in terms of the effect. So here I've gone on the horizontal slightly red and on the vertical 6 yellow. I've set it to dark. And one of the things I'll point out is I wish this is not my image. My image is a still life.
Why not have your image in there rather than...
One of the limitations of print pipelines is bidirectional information. The print driver has control at this point, but doesn't have the image. It doesn't know what it's going to print yet because you haven't hit print. So Greg Gorman, who does a lot of work with Epson, Greg has the advantage of having his image in there. So
doesn't that tee you off?
Yeah, it does. The only thing is I actually know this image, so I can actually kind of take some use out of this.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and save that and then hit print. So this was the image that was Slightly warm.
Yeah,
It's
lovely.
not hugely different.
No.
And, you know, these are kind of like baby steps.
Yeah, but this is a case, in my opinion, where less is more. I often see toned results that are just...
Fugly?
Well, these were never the things we would achieve in the darkroom.
No.
You know, if you gold toned or sepia toned, they were subtle.
Usually. Sometimes I was a little unsubtle.
Okay.
So now I'm going to go to my version of cool. And in essence, it's moving a little bit to the cyan and a little bit more to the blue. So -8, -25. And again, it's darker. Before I get off of this, I'll point out that not unlike using no color adjustment for printing color and avoiding the Epson driver color adjustments, I don't find this stuff particularly useful. Mainly because this isn't my image and I don't want to make adjustments here without knowing what it's going to look like.
Okay.
There's no easy way to do soft proofing of this effect, but you just kind of, you know, get a feel for it and you'll understand how to get the image optimized. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and hit print 1.
Right. Yeah, let's see what that one looks like.
Okay. So then this is the cool version. And as you can tell, it's just barely cool.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Close to neutral, but
Yeah.
you know,
Cotobromide versus polycontrast. And for those of you that don't have gray beards and never worked in the darkroom, you probably have no idea what I just said, which is cool. You're learning something. So these are the 3 different renderings that we did in the advanced black and white mode.
right.
To the left was neutral. The center, slightly cool. It's subtle. And on the right, warm. This is actually a little bit more visible.
Yeah, is much more visible. These are, you're going to have to, well, no, this is a little cooler.
Yeah. Well, you remember when I set the settings, I intentionally did it less obvious because I think the presets are really over the top. But with this paper, which is the Epson cold press, because we can see the texture, natural, so it's slightly warm, okay? And I think that's what's giving this warm feel to even the neutral. And this one being a little bit cooler
Neutralizes it.
kind of neutralizes it a little bit, although it is cooler than that.
Yeah.
And then with the warm tone, you can clearly see, and quite honestly, this is a subtle warmth, but I think this ink color works very well with this natural colored paper.
Yeah, it does. Although, you know, and I tend to like warm tones, but I think because the paper is a natural paper, I like this cool tinted warm tone combo. It kind of works.
That's the thing. A lot of times you do split tone.
Yeah.
Where you warm up the highlights, cool down the shadows a little bit. You can't really do that with the advanced black and white mode, unfortunately. Wish we could, but
No,
hey, Epson.
You have to be in color mode.
Yeah.
And then print it with split toning.
And split toning from Lightroom and Camera Raw works really well because that's kind of what this was designed to do.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that, in essence, my favorite of the 3 really is the neutral.
Okay. My favorite's the middle one.
That's fine. You can have that. I'll take that.
Okay. Thanks.
So
that's a lovely image.
Then, to be honest, this is the advanced black and white mode is kind of specific to Epson. Both Canon and HP have good black and white renderings. They don't have kind of the little specialty mini driver that is designed just for black and white. You also have a quad tone rip that can do black and white. That's a third party. John Cone sells, I think,
is it 7 tone?
7.
I think it's
7.
Yeah.
Multiple blacks, multiple grays, and depending upon how you curve them, you can get kind of a cross curve, warm, cool.
And Studio One here in Toronto has a 9900 with Cone's 7 ink it's not septone, I guess it is.
We'll put the super up on the screen for the correct name.
But it is really a stunning output. A little finicky to keep running, smoothly and well. But when it is, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So, I think the advances that have been made at this point in time, I think both color and in black and white, or grayscale, it's gotten to the point now that I think that digital prints are superior to analog chemical prints.
I think we now have better dynamic range, greater Dmax, and equal, if not better, longevity. So what more do you want?
Higher resolution.
Well, we always want something. Yeah. No, we're there. We're there. It's taken a while. It's taken 15 years. From the first inkjet printers. The Epson photo back in '95. So.
But if you think about how fast change has occurred just since Thomas Knoll wrote Photoshop. Released in 1990. Here we are in 2011. 21 years. This digital capture, digital printing, it's been a whirlwind.
Been an interesting transition and lots of fun to be part of it.
Yes. Frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, that too.
But fun.
That too.